Coming up on 5 Minute News. Helicopter crash kills Ukrainian interior minister. New Zealand's Ardern to step down in February. And new refugee program lets US citizens be sponsors. It's Thursday, January 19. I'm Anthony Davis. A helicopter carrying Ukraine's interior minister crashed into a kindergarten in a foggy residential suburb of Kiev on Wednesday, killing him and about a dozen other people, including a child on the ground, authorities said. Interior Minister Denis Monastyrsky, who oversaw the country's police and emergency services, is the most senior official killed since Russia invaded nearly 11 months ago. His death, along with the rest of his ministry's leadership and the entire helicopter crew, was the second major calamity in 4 days to befall Ukraine after a Russian missile struck an apartment building in the southeastern city of Dnipro, killing dozens of civilians. There was no immediate word on whether the helicopter crash, which occurred on a foggy morning in the capital's eastern suburb of Brovary, was an accident or related to the war. Ukrainian authorities immediately opened an investigation. No fighting has been reported recently in the capital region. President Volodymyr Zelensky, addressing the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, by video link, said the crash had a broad connection to the war. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, whose empathetic handling of the nation's worst mass shooting and health-driven response to the coronavirus pandemic led her to become an international icon, said today she is leaving office. Fighting back tears, Ardern told reporters in Napier that February 7 will be her last day as Prime Minister. "I'm entering now my 6th year in office, and for each of those years I have given my absolute all," she said. She also announced that New Zealand's next general elections would be held on October 14 and that she would remain a lawmaker until then. It's unclear who will take over as Prime Minister until the election. Deputy Prime Minister Grant Robertson announced he wouldn't be contesting for the leadership of the Labour Party, throwing the competition open. Ardern described her job as among the most privileged but challenging and said doing it required having a reserve to face the unexpected. She said she no longer had that reserve to serve another term. She said her time in office has been fulfilling but challenging. "I am not leaving because it was hard. I know what this job takes, and I know that I no longer have enough in the tank to do it justice. It's that simple," she said. Ardern had been facing tough election prospects. Her Liberal Labour Party won re-election 2 years ago in a landslide of historic proportions, but recent polls have put her party behind its Conservative rivals. She was lauded globally for her country's initial handling of the coronavirus pandemic, after New Zealand managed for months to stop the virus at its borders. In March 2019, Ardern faced one of the darkest days in New Zealand's history when a white supremacist gunman stormed 2 mosques in Christchurch and slaughtered 51 people. She was widely praised for the way she embraced the survivors and New Zealand's Muslim community in the aftermath. Everyday Americans will be able to help refugees adjust to life in the US, in a program being launched by the State Department as a way to give private citizens a role in resettling the thousands of refugees who arrive every year. The State Department plans to announce the program, dubbed the Welcome Corps, today. The agency aims to line up 10,000 Americans who can help 5,000 refugees during the first year of the program. They would apply to privately sponsor refugees to resettle in America and would be responsible for raising their own money to help the refugees during their first 90 days in the country. Assistance would include everything from finding a place to live to getting kids enrolled in school. A consortium of non-profits with expertise in refugee resettlement will help oversee the vetting and certification of people and groups who want to be private sponsors. They'll also offer training so private sponsors understand what's needed to help refugees adjusting to life in America. The Welcome Corps program comes on the heels of a similar, smaller-scale endeavor under which Americans were able to sponsor Afghans or Ukrainians fleeing their country. That program launched in October 2021 and has helped just over 800 people coming to America through a network of 230 certified sponsors. President Joe Biden vowed in a 2021 executive order to restore the U.S. as the world's haven and called for private sponsorship of refugees. The previous administration, under disgraced President Donald Trump, had largely rolled back the refugee program. You can subscribe to 5 Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5 Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Subscribe, rate and review online at 5minute.news. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.